Today, we're talking about the cheapest mulch you can possibly buy for your garden. Wait, you don't even have to buy it. Leaf mulch. Do you hate raking leaves as much as I do? Actually, should I say as much as I used to? Because I don't hate raking them now, because I know every time that I rake leaves, I get mulch to put in my yard and in my garden, and that's invaluable. And it's free. All it costs is a little bit of muscle and you can get it done. But it is kind of a pain. But the way that we're gonna do it is, it's gonna rake our leaves and put them in a big pile, but then we're gonna get our mulching lawnmower just like we did with the straw. But the difference is this time, the lawnmower is gonna catch the leaves and makes it a lot easier. So what I do is I do two things with this. First thing I do is I always, just like I showed you in the compost video I did, and if you haven't seen it, check it out, but I always take and put them in a separate pile next to my compost bin so that I have all the brown matter I need to add to my compost every time I add green. So you can see that I've got a pretty good pile. I took where the bottom is and I dug out about maybe a foot underneath. So this is about probably 2.5 feet right now, and I just took a lot out to put into my garden. But then I also took and got some manure from the chicken coop and put that in as the nitrogen. And I need to come back out here and mix it up and cover it back up. But each time that I rake leaves, I'll add to this. Best thing that I would recommend to do is don't wait until the last minute and rake all your leaves up at once. I would do it in sections. And that's really gonna help you be the most efficient at it, and it won't overwhelm you and it won't be as hard. Typically what I'll do is I'll either rake them, or I've happened to come across the leaf blower recently, so I'll blow them into a pretty big pile, and then what I'll do is I'll separate the piles out into a little bit more manageable, and then I'll use my rake and kind of get them all in a better pile, and then I'll run over them with my lawnmower. And once you get them in your lawnmower, then you can dump in your pile. Problem is if you take this leaf right here and you throw it into your garden, what it's gonna do is it's gonna form a mat, and there won't be any air that can get down into it, and the water will actually not soak into your garden either. So it will create a water starved, even though this will be wet, your soil won't be wet, and can also call it an anaerobic condition. And that's when it won't decompose like it should, because remember, if you do your mulch right, let's just crumple it up like this. That's all gonna decompose a lot faster. You know what I'm saying? So, just that alone would make a difference. Now, I'm not gonna go out there and crumple them all with my hands. That's what the lawnmower's for. That smaller size will allow for it to decompose faster and then feed your garden. And that's what we've done with ours. So we've done a bed with that, and there's a reason why I've done only one bed, and I'll tell you that in a second. So this is the garden that the garden bed, excuse me, that I have put the leaves down in, and I haven't completely finished. I need to get some more, and there's a little story behind that. But you can see I have right around 2 inches, and I need to fill in some gaps. But again, you don't want it right up on the bottom. So we had a hard freeze, so everything is looking a little weak. But and then to go back to this one, is the same thing. I kind of split the difference. But when I did it, because I was making my compost at the same time, I got some of the litter from the coop in there. So that's why I put the straw on top to kind of dilute it a little bit, because I do mine in sections. So as I do it, I put a little bit of the doo-doo in, and then it'll break down. What I need to do is get more leaves, and before I add that nitrogen in to help it compost faster, then I'll put that on top and finish that bed off. But there's no rush, right? It's already doing its thing. I can add a little bit more anytime there's still leaves falling, because I started early, and each time it's a lot easier if you just stay on top of it. So for a free mulch, it's not that bad. Of the two we've talked about so far, it is the less visually appealing, but it wouldn't stop me from using it. If I couldn't get the straw that I've been using, I would use it. And I mean, as you see, I am using it, but it's a multi-purpose because it's free. I can put it out into the compost pile and then add it as I need it. I can do the same thing with the straw. Don't get me wrong, but I'm paying for the straw, so I don't really want to pay for something that I'm then going to put into a compost pile. I would rather go ahead and use it because it is a little bit more aesthetically pleasing too, and go ahead and put it in the garden. And this has been used for a long time. Now the benefit of the straw over the leaves is I can use the straw in my chicken coop and then mix that in together. So when I pull that stuff out and add it to my compost, then it is a nitrogen and a carbon together to put into my compost. So it's kind of balanced a little bit more. But just like with the straw, if you're watching this in the fall or winter, now's the time to add it to your bed. But if you don't, you can still add it whenever you want, but you're not gonna get that composting action in your garden, because in the summertime you're working it a lot or something, you know, because in the summertime you're working it a lot, and then what that's gonna do is you'll keep moving it and it won't be able to compost as much. So I like to think about it like when the garden sleeps, I let it do my work, and this is the time of year to add it in, you know, either fall or early spring. So get out there and put some mulch in your garden. But in the meantime, check out the Backyard Gardens podcast and let us know what you think. Tell us in the comments below if you've used leaves and what you thought about them. And until next time, we'll catch you guys later.